Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all doing well and ready for something truly remarkable. Today's story was shared by a man named Tom from the Pacific Northwest. He told us about an experience that changed the way he sees the forest and the creatures within it. This happened back in 2001, when he was just 23 years old. Let's dive into this encounter. The year was 2001, a time when digital cameras were still a luxury, and most of us trusted our eyes more than any gadget. We were deep in the wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, carrying out a routine wildlife expedition. Our mission was simple: to track deer and black bears, and if we were lucky, maybe catch a fleeting glimpse of an elusive mountain lion. The forest that morning was alive with possibilities. The air was crisp and carried the earthy scent of pine and wet soil. Sunlight filtered through the thick canopy above, casting dappled shadows that danced across the forest floor. The only sounds were the calls of distant jays and the occasional crunch of twigs underfoot as we moved carefully along the narrow trail. We weren't expecting anything out of the ordinary. After all, this was just another day in the woods, a chance to gather some footage for our modest documentary project. But sometimes, the wilderness has a way of reminding us who's really in charge. As we paused to adjust our equipment, the camera turned for just a moment, just long enough to catch something that didn't belong. A shape, a movement. So brief, we thought it might be a trick of the light, but when we played it back, our hearts raced. What we'd captured in that single frame was about to change everything we thought we knew about these forests and the creatures that called them home. The footage was a mess at first, a jumble of shaking leaves, distant shadows, and sudden jerks of movement. In 2001, we didn't have the luxury of today's sleek software and high-definition screens. We had bulky CRT monitors and clunky editing gear. But we were determined to see what lay beneath the blur. Each evening we sat in a small cabin lit by a single lamp, rewinding the tape and studying every second. Our eyes grew sore from the flicker of the screen, but we pressed on. Frame by frame, we adjusted the contrast, smoothed out the jumps, and tried to bring some order to the chaos. It was painstaking work, the kind that tests your patience and your resolve. Bit by bit, the picture cleared. What had once been just a flicker of movement began to take shape. A figure, broad-shouldered and deliberate, moving through the forest with a calm that no bear or deer could muster. There was no question it was something out of the ordinary. Our excitement grew with every new detail we could make out. This wasn't a trick of light or a simple misidentification. This was real. In those long nights of careful playback, we felt the hairs on our arms stand up more than once. We weren't just documenting a forest anymore. We were uncovering a mystery that had waited a long time to be seen. What we saw in that cleaned-up footage was beyond belief. A towering humanoid figure moving through the dense underbrush with a grace and certainty that no human could muster. It was unlike anything we'd ever seen. Even in 2001, when tales of Bigfoot were mostly confined to barroom chatter and campfire ghost stories, this figure defied explanation. It was massive, easily over 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders that tapered into long, powerful arms. Its entire body was cloaked in dark, shaggy hair that shifted in the dappled forest light, blending it seamlessly into the shadows. Every movement seemed practiced, deliberate. There was no clumsy stumble, no hesitation, just a steady, fluid motion that spoke of centuries spent in these woods. As we watched, the creature paused for a moment, turning slightly as if it sensed something. Maybe us, maybe just another ripple in the silence of the forest. For a heartbeat, the sun broke through the canopy, catching the side of its face and revealing an expression that was calm. It wasn't the snarl of a bear or the wary eyes of a deer. It was something more thoughtful, almost meditative. The camera, held steady now after hours of painstaking work, captured every detail in that brief moment. We saw the way the hair around its shoulders moved with its breath, the subtle tilt of its head as it listened to the forest. The longer we looked, the more impossible it became to dismiss what we were seeing. For those of us who stood in that small editing room, huddled around the monitor in the soft glow of the lamp, it was a moment that would be forever etched into our memories. It wasn't just a creature in the woods. It was a presence. And in that presence, we felt a shift in everything we thought we knew about the world around us. The footage didn't stop at just showing us the creature moving through the forest. What happened next caught us completely off guard, and forever changed the way we think about this elusive being. The figure made its way down to a slow-moving river that cut through the forest, a spot familiar to anyone who spent time in these woods. It's the kind of place where bears gather in early summer to fish for salmon, patiently waiting for the right moment to strike. But this wasn't a bear. We watched, eyes wide, as the figure crouched low at the riverbank. Its massive hands hovered just above the water's surface, steady and sure. Then, with a speed that surprised us all, it plunged its hands beneath the surface and scooped up a fish, silver and wriggling, before pulling it free. It was a stunning moment. Here was clear evidence of something we'd only ever heard about in stories. In 2001, most people still wrote off Bigfoot as folklore, maybe a hoax or a misidentification. But what we had on that tape was different. The creature wasn't just stumbling through the woods. It was skillful, intelligent, and incredibly adaptable. The way it fished showed a deep understanding of its environment. It knew when to wait, how to move quietly, and how to catch its meal without wasting energy. Watching those calm, practiced movements, we realized this wasn't some wild animal driven by instinct alone. This was a creature with knowledge, experience, and perhaps even culture. It knew these woods intimately, better than many humans who come and go. That moment by the river didn't just prove Bigfoot might exist. It hinted at a world far richer and more complex than we ever imagined. Just when we thought the footage couldn't get any more surprising, the camera caught something else, something that added an entirely new layer to the story. A second figure appeared, smaller and moving cautiously through the underbrush. It was about half the size of the first, with the same shaggy coat and careful movements, but there was an unmistakable sense of hesitation in its steps, as if it was unsure whether to reveal itself. Then came the moment that truly stopped us in our tracks. The larger figure, the one who had just caught the fish, knelt down and gently offered it to the smaller one. The way it extended the fish was almost tender, like a parent sharing a meal with a child. Could this be a juvenile Bigfoot? Was this a family? The thought was both comforting and staggering. Up until then, Bigfoot was often imagined as a solitary creature, a myth of the wild. But this footage suggested something far more complex, a social bond, a community hidden deep in the woods. In 2000=1, studies on wild primates were just beginning to reveal the importance of social behavior and family units. Seeing such behavior in Bigfoot shattered all our assumptions. This wasn't some mythical beast living alone. It was a creature capable of care, cooperation, and connection. That quiet moment, caught on tape, showed us a side of Bigfoot no one had really seen before. It made us realize that we weren't just witnessing a lonely wanderer, but a glimpse into an entire hidden world, one full of relationships, survival, and perhaps even emotions. It was a powerful reminder that there's still so much we don't know about the wild places on this planet, and the creatures that call them home. After we returned from the expedition, the footage quickly became the center of intense discussion, though mostly behind closed doors. In 2001, Few experts were willing to go public with their thoughts on Bigfoot, fearing ridicule. But among a small circle of wildlife specialists and cryptozoologists, there was genuine interest and cautious excitement. Of course, some dismissed the footage outright as a hoax or clever trickery. Skepticism was expected and healthy, but others believed this might be the most important wildlife footage of the century. One well-respected expert, who asked to remain anonymous, commented on what stood out most: the creature's dexterity. "This isn't just brute strength or simple animal instinct," they said. "The way it moves, especially how it fishes and interacts, suggests a high level of intelligence. This challenges everything we thought about these creatures." Another expert highlighted the interaction between the two figures, the sharing of food and gentle approach. Such cooperative behavior indicates a social structure which we hadn't seriously considered for Bigfoot before. It opens up entirely new questions about their community, communication, and survival strategies. These insights were a turning point. The footage wasn't just a curiosity anymore. It demanded serious scientific attention. It reminded us that in the vast wilderness, there are still mysteries waiting to be uncovered. And sometimes, the truth is stranger than fiction. As the years have passed, that 2001 footage has become a quiet legend among those who know where to look. For many, it remains just a mysterious video. But for us, it's a deeply personal reminder of the unknown still lurking in the wild. That encounter challenges everything we assume about the wilderness. It's not just a place for hiking, hunting, or logging. It's a living, breathing world, full of secrets and creatures we may only just be beginning to understand. We often ask ourselves, what else could be out there, hidden beyond the trees and shadows? How much do we really know about the beings that share this planet with us? For those willing to open their eyes and to respect the quiet, untouched places of the earth, the answers might be closer than we ever imagined. In the end, this footage isn't just about proving Bigfoot's existence. It's about reminding us all to look deeper, listen closer, and never stop wondering about the mysteries right outside our doorsteps. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more fascinating encounters and mysteries from the wild, please hit that subscribe button. Your support means a lot and helps us keep bringing you real, eye-opening stories. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I love hearing from you. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you.